I think it depends on the number of years you buy the term. I think the main difference between whole life and term in terms of remuneration is the amount of premium you pay. For the same cover, you probably have to pay 10 times more if you buy a whole life plan as compared to a term plan. Yeah, so in that regard, you will see why when a salesperson sells a whole life plan, the compensation is a lot higher already because the premiums are much higher. When we first started the company more than 10 years ago, we have always believed in a fee approach of doing financial advisory, which means to say that we charge the client a fee, and at the end of the day, if they buy any products, all the commissions are returned back. So we are actually not too worried about the commissions that we take. We wanted to advocate whole life because, or rather we wanted to advocate term because term is the only way to be fully covered. I mean, most Singaporeans, if they do their sums correctly, they will need about at least maybe anything between 600,000-700,000 to even $1 million cover. And if you try and buy that with a whole life plan, you will never be able to cover yourself fully. Term is the only way that you can cover yourself fully. I think we have always advocated that the role of insurance in your financial plan is purely for protection. Because if you want to invest your money, you want to save your money, there are plenty of instruments out there that you can use. There is no need to use insurance to do it. In terms of return, insurance is not interesting at all. And also, a lot of people think that, if I use insurance, it's actually very low risk. Actually, if we really understand insurance and we strip it apart, it's just that for every dollar premium that you pay, a part of it goes to pay for the mortality or the insurance cost. The rest of it, the insurance companies, they actually go and take the money and invest it in an asset-located portfolio. So they invest in equities, they invest in bonds, they invest in property. It's not necessarily that when you buy insurance, it is safer. It is just that because the insurance company every year they cash out certain part of the investments and they give it to you as a reversionary bonus. So certain parts of it is in a way guaranteed. That makes you feel safe. But the downside of that is that you get much lower return. So the average return of a whole life plan over a period of maybe say 25 years, 30 years is on average probably about 3%. Yeah, so if you want to use an insurance instrument to save for retirement based on 3%, you really have to save a lot of money. And I'll say that it's quite impossible to reach your goal just by using insurance as an instrument. I've always maintained, or rather even the firm has always maintained, that in every retiree portfolio, there must always be an annuity. Why? Because annuity is probably one of the only instruments that that will hedge against longevity risk. I mean, if you live too long, you need something that pays you for life. And that is why it's very important that in a retiree's investment portfolio, you must have an annuity. And CPF, being a national annuity, is the cheapest annuity that you can find. And so definitely, CPF can play a large role in a retiree portfolio. But of course, you cannot depend on just CPF alone, because the whole idea of CPF is that it is supposed to focus on the lower to middle income people. In CPF board, they focus on the second quintile, meaning to say these are the people who are in the 20 to 40% income group. And if you are a higher income earner, you cannot just depend on CPF. You have to supplement it with other annuities if you want a higher monthly payout for life, or you have to supplement it with other investment instruments to give you the lifestyle that you want. Annuity is actually an insurance instrument. Okay, basically you give the insurance company a sum of money, and the sum of money is put together with the rest of the people who buy this particular product, and it will pay you a monthly income for the rest of your life until you pass on. If you pass on too early and there are still remaining of your premiums that are not consumed, the balance premiums will be returned back to your family. For CPF Life, which is the national annuity, if you buy it, it's supposed to give you about $650 to $700 per person per month in their retirement. A person who has a much higher income will have a higher lifestyle expectation, and a monthly payout of about $650 to $700 will not be sufficient. They definitely have to supplement it with other forms of investments or even annuity. I think most people are quite okay and quite happy with our CPF system. For the minority who are unhappy, they are usually unhappy with the government more than the CPF itself. And that's really unfortunate, because if we really understand CPF, it is a really good system. And if I can simplify CPF, it is like an endowment plan. You know, whilst you are working, you are putting your money into this so-called endowment plan, and part of your money gets a guaranteed 2.5 to 3.5% return. Part of your money get a 4% to 5% return. You know, and at maturity, which is when you are 55 years old, this amount of money that is accumulated gets converted into an annuity, which is your CPF Life. And the CPF Life is also growing at 4 to 5% guaranteed. You know, and then it starts paying out monthly from age 65 onwards until your unfortunate demise. So if you look at it as an insurance plan, you can't get this kind of insurance plan anywhere. If there is such an insurance plan that will help you accumulate towards paying for an annuity, growing at 3.5%, 5% guaranteed, I think if there's an instrument like that for the salespeople to sell, it will sell like hotcakes. Yeah, but unfortunately, I think because we are not happy with the current state of things in the country, whether valid or not valid, I think people do not look at CPF Life rationally. If I have to give an advice to a young person or a person going to retirement, I would say that I'll give two sets of three advices. Yeah. So the first set of advice is for people who are really starting out. Planning for your finances is like running a marathon. If you are not fit, you are not healthy rather, you don't go and run a marathon. So in saving for the future, the first thing you must be able to do is that you must be able to save. Because if you cannot save, you cannot invest. So first thing, check your financial health. Second thing, okay, make sure that you have enough insurance to protect your downside. And then the third advice I'll give is then you start investing for the future. Now the second set of advice is really for the retirees. I know many Singaporeans are worried that they cannot retire in Singapore. Personally, I feel that if you want to retire very rich in Singapore, it's going to be tough. But you will have an okay retirement. You just have to do these three things. Firstly, make sure that you buy a house that you can afford. Ensure that you pay off all mortgages by age 65. Okay. Secondly, have an annuity plan that will pay you a monthly income. I mean, if you don't like CPF Life, you can buy other things, but CPF Life is currently the cheapest. Thirdly, have a very good medical insurance plan that will pay for your medical expenses if you are hospitalized. If you have done these three things, you should be able to retire comfortably. You may not be able to retire with a very luxurious lifestyle, but you will have a dignified retirement. Again, it depends on whether you buy just CPF Life. I mean, with the new recommendation, you can buy a CPF Life annuity up to a payout of about 1,009 per month. Yeah, all you need to do is at age 65, you set aside 241,500. This is based on the current numbers. Yeah, so if you think that 1,009 for a couple is enough, you have enough. If you think that 1,009 for a couple is not enough, then you have to supplement it with other form of investments. It depends again on your lifestyle requirement, but I choose to believe the more prudent you are, the lesser you spend, the more you can have a secure retirement. Yeah. So at retirement, if you are contented, CPF Life, like I said, will give you about 1,009 per month per couple. And all you need is a lump sum of 241,500 currently. If that is not enough, buy a bit more of the private annuities from the insurance company. Maybe that will give you another $1,000 and you're about 2,009 per month. And we are all talking about very, very safe instrument. And we're talking about maybe a total lump sum of, for both CPF Life and the insurance that you buy, maybe about 300 to 400,000 lump sum. Yeah. So just with 300,000, 400,000 lump sum, which really, if you don't have it as a retiree, it's going to be a great difficulty for you to retire. Yeah. But with 300, 400,000 lump sum, you can have about 2,000 over dollars, 3,000 kind of reliable income stream. I think you can retire. Well, if my kids come to me and they are young, I'll say start an index fund or buy into the index, buy an ETF. Don't need to get in and out, because the ups and downs of the market in the short term doesn't tell you anything about the company. It just basically tells you about the sentiment of human beings. If they are greedy, the market goes up. If they are fearful, the market goes down. You are investing for the long term, you are young, you have got a good 10, 20, even 30 years to invest. Just buy a good diversified index fund and keep it there. Put in monthly every month if you can afford, if not every quarter, if not every 6 months. I'm pretty confident that when you are 55, 60 years old, you have a good pot of money for your retirement.